Assalamu alaikum, Wanderlusters. Welcome back to another episode of WanderVision. I am Sanya Nasser, and today we have Ms. Irum Khan, who is a PhD scholar in management sciences, and she specializes in AI governance and ethics to analyze the impacts that they have on organizations and institutes. Today's episode is going to be focused on how AI and innovation can transform travel in Pakistan. Welcome on the show, Ms. Irum. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Thank you so much for calling me here and for such a nice introduction.
Thank you for doing all these things. Aapka extensive experience in curriculum development, instructional design, corporate training and many other things. So अगर आप अपने अल्फाज में थोड़ा सा अपने आप को introduction दे दें अपना और introduce करा लें अपने आप को.
Well, previously I'm kind of a person that, a few years back, people used to call them the jack of all things and master of none. But now they call us those interdisciplinary experts who have knowledge of different disciplines, and I'm just enjoying that space for myself, having knowledge of curriculum development in education sector. I have vast experience, long years of experience in education sector. Meanwhile, with my background in project management and my PhD being pursued in management, obviously that organization culture and organizational behavior, that says something that comes with it. And obviously my very starting love for computer programming, and which I left for many years in between, but then came back to it 5 years ago.
Is it like swimming?
Oh, it is something, if you get a hold of it, it is like, yes, it is like flying, you just go up and down and dive and then so back and it's fun. And when you know so much, it's so fun that you can it's like dimensions, You can move from one dimension to another and think like a different person, and you just enjoy being in the zone. Yeah.
Right. So what are you, जो PhD है वो कैसा जा रहा है?
I am among those people who do PhD for fun. And academia, somewhere, academia expects researchers to be very sober and very, do not call the research fun. I like it. It's fun. It's interesting. I'm loving finding out about new things. I'll just quote one thing, that when we were doing our coursework and somebody, one of my teachers asked that how is it coming to the university, because the whole day we were working, in the offices, and at 6 p.m. we would just rush to the university for the evening classes, and we were just like totally drained. But that was the time that we really found that this is something that I'm doing for myself. So whenever I used to sit in those classes and teachers used to teach us about something, it felt like, somebody has opened this door of a whole new universe for me, and I have to explore that. And I don't know whether everybody can think like that or not, but I just love opening those doors and finding new universes. It's so fun.
That's very nicely put. So talking about AI, what do you think is currently happening in Pakistan in regards to AI? कितना हम utilize कर रहे हैं, कितना potential है? इनोवेटिवली हम कितना यूज़ कर रहे हैं, या हम वही मैकेनिकल कामों के लिए ज़्यादा इस्तेमाल हो रहा है? क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग हमारी स्टूडेंट्स में वो इज़ दैट डिमिनिशिंग दैट, इज़ दैट बीइंग काउंटर प्रोडक्टिवली यूज्ड, या वी आर क्लेवर इनफ टू यूज़ इट इन अ वे दैट विल बेनिफिट अस और नॉट?
Well, we are at the same, paradoxical situation where the whole world is actually. Like, I would not say कि पाकिस्तान कोई अलहदा है और पाकिस्तान कुछ अलहदा कर रहा है. दुनिया में तकरीबन सब मुल्क, whether they are developing or whether they are developed, they are going through this challenge. कि AI आ गया है, it did not come as a pilot project, it was just deployed, given to us. जाओ ChatGPT use करो, फिर Gemini आ गया, and then bombarded with everything. Then image tools आ गए. So many things were introduced in such a less time, and we never had time to absorb all that, If I take you a little bit earlier, when COVID came, तो आपने देखा कि because being in education, हम लोग इसी बात पे फाइट कर रहे थे कि बच्चों की ऑनलाइन क्लासेस कैसे लेनी है, यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में, स्कूल्स में, कॉलेजेस में, टीचर्स क्लास में टेक्नोलॉजी कैसे लेके आएँ, पावर पॉइंट्स कैसे बनाएं, जूम कॉल्स कैसे लें, like that was a big thing for us. We couldn't do that. And afterwards also, when brick and mortar system दोबारा open हुआ, physical classes हो गई, अब problem ये थी कि teachers slightly started to go back to their pattern because classes में भी technology उतनी available नहीं थी. And then साथ ही AI आ गया. अब अभी तो हम टेक्नोलॉजी को इंटीग्रेट करने का सोच रहे हैं और एआई जो बच्चों के हाथ में पहले आ गया है, तो हाउ टू हैंडल दैट? वी डोंट हैव एनी प्लान. नोबडी हैड अ प्लान एंड वी आर आल्सो अमंग दोज पीपल हु हैव नो प्लान. नाउ गवर्नमेंट्स इन डिफरेंट कंट्रीज दे आर मेकिंग प्लान्स. कोरिया ने कर लिया, ईयू ने पहले, यूरोप ने तो सबसे पहले किया, अमेरिका ने किया, यूके ने किया, जापान ने किया. सो वन बाय वन कंट्रीज अपनी पॉलिसीज दे रही हैं. We are somewhere hovering around ChatGPT only.
Yes.
And we do not understand that AI is like a river, not a river, an ocean of opportunities, It's a bigger thing. There's lots of other things that can happen with AI rather than only a generative AI model. But our understanding is that I've talked to so many people, young, old, and whenever I talk about AI, at the back of their mind, the only thing they are listening to that, when I'm quoting AI, they are thinking it as a ChatGPT. ChatGPT की बात कर रही है. No, I'm not talking about ChatGPT. So we are definitely not ready. But the thing is that, are we trying to be ready? And I don't think so.
Yeah.
We are just I think it's a harsh word, but I think that most of us are just pretending that, for the commercial belongingness, that, because everybody is talking about ChatGPT, so I am talking about, yes, AI should be coming in our society, AI should be coming in our classrooms, it should be in our curriculum. Let's put one chapter of AI in the curriculum, in the book, But that is not AI. AI is more than that, and we need to.
Computer sciences anymore.
Yes. Look at China. I mean, I when it started, so I just went. I searched and I found out and I researched about it that because China was the first to integrate in the classrooms. So I went to the China's model and I searched and I found out that they have been doing different activities in the classrooms. Their kids are training their models in the classrooms. Now they have made it kids friendly. For example, they have robots in the classroom, but those robots are talking, they are using voice model, and the kids are training their models via those robots in a friendly way. Wow. So they are having their own AI models, but the pattern is different. It's an engaging way of how to do it, and VR and everything. So we are very far away from that, and it's okay, but how to handle this? Having a curriculum doesn't mean one chapter. It means having strategies. It means training people. And most of all, it means having proper infrastructure.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
If computers are only in the computer lab, how do you think that AI will be integrated in the classrooms? It's a race which we have to, take part in, but with very much patience, slow and steady.
Yeah. Achha, that is interesting that you mentioned infrastructure. That was actually going to be my follow-up question. When we talk about computer sciences, ठीक है, जब हमारा computer आया था, it was a very polarizing thing, because some people could afford to have that and learn the skill, and many people could not. However, when smartphones came and social media came, that was kind of like an equalizing factor. Where does AI fall in that? Like, is that going to be another polarizing factor, or do you think eventually in the long run we might be able to?
It is already a polarizing factor. It's not me. The world is talking about that, but not everybody is talking about
within
it.
Pakistan.
Yeah, within Pakistan also. Like, look at those kids who are going in very high-end schools or high-end colleges or high-end universities. They may have some teachers or departments where where AI models are being, developed and they are being trained on it. But what about others? They have only access to the free version of ChatGPT. They don't even don't have access to the paid versions of things like Gemini or Perplexity or DeepSeek or whatever, and that is already a polarizing factor. You are building these levels of people that where you have a higher category who is pro in using AI. Then there is a middle class who is just knows how to use it as an operation level, and then there is lower class who doesn't care. They have to pay their bills, they have to make their living, so they don't care whether AI comes or goes. And it is something that we need to it has to be introduced in a very, very what you call in a flow, in a synchronized manner for everybody, just like smartphones. Everybody has them. But the problem is that if we don't have our own AI models, if we don't have our own data repositories, if our AI is talking in English, or then how will they understand? So they are not interested.
Okay, English के ऊपर we will definitely expand on that. That is a very important factor. And I think a very important factor in terms of education itself. उसके अलावा, when we talk about, again, the dissemination of AI and accessibility of it, what role does the government play, and any government policies or AI policies or anything like that? Do we have that? Or
we have an AI policy which is sitting somewhere in some files since many years now, and I've heard that a draft has been taught in some universities also under policy classes, but the policies, the draft doesn't mean you have a policy. And the way AI, this landscape is evolving overnight, I don't think that policy may be relevant now in current scenario, and you'll have to do it again. You'll have to redo it, because things have changed. Now, we have lots and lots of things. I think when that AI policy was made, the image generation was Dolly and, all those things. But now you can just generate image out of any simple chat. Generative AI thing. So it's free, everybody is doing it. There are apps and there are other things. So things have to be, we have to expedite. It's not a commercial, a slogan that AI is here and we are in for AI. It is something that you have to show a practicality in it, a real adoption, and a way to adopt it, how to adopt it. So government can play a part with proper policies, with proper procedures, and especially, again, I come back to the data repositories. If you are scared of international data, have your own data. Have your own big data and sort out your culture, sort out your norms, sort out your religious norms, religious ethics, religious values, your national values, your national security. Have your own AI, just like China. Right?
Of course, China. So we have countries like China and the US, of course, and the European countries. So what other countries are ahead of the game, and we would be surprised to know?
Korea. South Korea is obviously ahead of the game. European Union has been doing a lot. They have been among the first people who have introduced the AI policy. They were the very first ones, and in Europe, so they have this general data protection rules, regulations also, and they have this issue that people over there are aware that even if the facial recognition software is used, so they are bound to have a signboard over there that facial recognition system is being used in this over here, with those cameras. We don't even have that idea, we don't even think about that. So they are far ahead. And it is so much become a norm for them now that, it's not something out of the context or out of the blue. For us, we are very much, obviously falling behind that. But these countries are way ahead of us. They are doing so much. Obviously, they are also learning every day because new drafts keep on coming. but their policy does not stay in the draft.
Yeah, that is true. Acha, so we go back to the language barrier, and because you are from the education sector and you have had such a vast experience in that, personally that is something that hurts me a lot, and I feel like that has been the biggest challenge of Pakistan's growth and development. If you look at any country, whether it's China, it's Turkey, it's Japan, or US, even India to a very large extent, if any country has actually achieved something, it's because उनकी पढ़ाई उनकी अपनी ज़ुबान में है. अब ना आइडेंटिटी क्राइसिस हमारे पाकिस्तानी का हर वक्त रहा है, या आप बिल्कुल ही वो सिर्फ इंग्लिश आती है या आपको उर्दू आती है, बट हमारी किताबें इंग्लिश में हैं, हमारा करिकुलम इंग्लिश में है. सो वाई इज़ दैट? क्या हमें फोमो है, क्या हमें मसला है कि हम ओन नहीं करते अपनी ज़ुबान को, हम ओन नहीं करते अपने कल्चर को, एंड वी एक तो डिफरेंट एजुकेशन सेक्टर, ओ लेवल्स हो गया, IB हो गया, ये A लेवल्स हो गया, फिर मेट्रिक, FSC, वाई द डिस्टिंक्शंस कांस्टेंट? ही क्यों हमें वो हंगओवर है फ्रॉम द colonial times? What is this? Sorry.
It's frustrating, right? Just recently, almost 10 days ago, I had this article that I wrote for Friday Times, and that was about this identity crisis, because when different cultures meet, and there are two metaphors used. One is called the melting pot, and the other is called salad bowl. Now, in salad bowl, what happens that different cultures, just like in Singapore, everybody just retains their identity and they are mixed up and they enjoy each other, and together there is one holistic thing. And then there is a melting pot where everybody melts together to form a new culture, like America has been doing that. Now, with us, what happened? That, we just lost our identity. And because we are the country is diverse already, look at Punjab has lost most of its culture, Sindh has retained, your point, because they teach Sindhi in their classes, we don't have that in Punjab,
we used to, I think
we used to, yes, that, yeah. This is how you lose your culture, and we need to understand that English is not knowing English is not an answer to everything, मैं अभी भी अंग्रेज़ी बोल रही हूँ तो कहीं ना कहीं मैं सोचती उर्दू में हूँ, एंड ये हमारे लिए, अगर हम समझते हैं कि अंग्रेज़ी बोलना ही हमारे लिए एक सेवियर ऑफ लाइफ है, तो दिस इज़ नॉट इट. चाइना में बच्चे चाइनीज़ ही पढ़ रहे हैं, जापान अब कहीं जाके थोड़ा इंग्लिश पे आया है, वरना दे प्रेफर्ड जापानीज़ मोर. कोरियंस दे लर्न इन कोरियन. लैंग्वेज learning is not, language is actually a barrier to learning, and other language is the barrier. Mother language आपकी हमेशा learning को better करती है.
Exactly.
It is always good. और अगर हम इसको इस सिनारियो में लेके आए कि आपके बच्चे क्यों नहीं आगे जा पाते, You said O levels और सब इंग्लिश में इसलिए है, और ये बच्चे आगे क्यों नहीं जा पाते, बिकॉज उनका 50-60% ऑफ जितना एफर्ट है वो उनका उस इंग्लिश को समझने में लगता है, rather than focusing on the concept. And when we bring the same into AI, the same thing happens. I'll just quote one example with you. A few days ago, I took an Uber, ठीक है, और मैं जा रही हूँ और ड्राइवर का जो गूगल मैप्स है वो उर्दू में बात कर रहा है, एंड दिस वाज वेरी फर्स्ट टाइम कि मैंने उर्दू में उसको वॉइस देखा कैसे, हालांकि वो सेटिंग्स चेंज हो जाती है, बट आई नेवर सॉ कि किसी ने चेंज किया. सो आई आस्क्ड हिम, मैंने कहा ये तुम्हें किसी ने बेटा चेंज करके दिया? उसने कहा जी मुझे ना इंग्लिश में समझ नहीं आता था, तो मैं कभी इधर जाता था कभी उधर रास्ता भूल जाता था, तो मुझे किसी ने ना उर्दू में करके दिया. तो मैंने कहा कि अब आपको आसानी होती है? कहता है बाजी अब मैं कभी भी रास्ता नहीं भूलता. एंड आई वॉज दैट इज़ द पॉइंट व्हेन आई रियलाइज कि लैंग्वेज बैरियर कितना बड़ा मसला है अपने ही मुल्क में. और अगर आप उसी बंदे को उसकी लैंग्वेज में बात कर देते हो तो उसके लिए कमाना भी आसान है, नेविगेट करना भी आसान है, मसले को हल करना भी आसान है. ऑप्शंस आर देयर, इफ वी आर नॉट अवेलिंग इट तो फिर क्या?
उस दिन I was talking to Meta on WhatsApp. I was like, do you speak Urdu? She said, no, I don't speak Urdu, I speak Hindi. So I was like, फिर बोल उर्दू रही थी, लेकिन she didn't, मतलब उसकी जो सेटिंग्स में ये है ही नहीं कि उर्दू उसको आती है, उसको हिंदी ही आती है.
So this is important, अगर आप AI पे लेके आओ ठीक है। एजुकेशन के लिए तो हम सालों से लड़ रहे हैं ना इस बात पे कि उर्दू में करें, फिर जब वो उर्दू में करते हैं तो वो इतनी मुश्किल और सलीस उर्दू में कर देते हैं जो हम कल्चरली अब भूल गए हैं। अब हम तो मिक्स उर्दू बोलते हैं ना, एंड वी वांट कि अगर आप हमारी बुक्स को चेंज भी करें तो वो उस थोड़ी आसान और मिक्स सी उर्दू में करें ताकि हमारे बच्चों को समझ में आए, क्योंकि अब हमारे बच्चे उतनी डीप उर्दू, सलीस उर्दू नहीं समझते, हम नहीं समझते, ठीक है। सो या तो आप वो करें या फिर उसको किसी और अगर आप इसको अब एआई के उसमें लेके आते हैं तो आप डू यू एक्सपेक्ट कि एआई के जितने फ़ायदे हैं, जितने उसकी यूटिलिटीज़ हैं, फार्मर्स तक पहुंच सकेंगी, गांव में बैठे हुए लोगों तक पहुंच सकेंगी? नो, अनलेस कि मेरे गांव में एक फार्मर बैठा हुआ है और उसको अपने खेत में कोई बीमारी लगी हुई है, कोई कीड़ा लगा हुआ है और उसने सवाल पूछना है, तो वो एआई के साथ बात करते हुए अपनी पोठवारी ज़ुबान में बोलता है, ठीक है, और वो एआई उसको उसी की ज़ुबान में जवाब दे देती है, तो उसको तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी ना। एंड देन दैट फार्मर विल go to that AI model again for another query, और वो बाकियों को भी बताएगा कि यार ये इससे बात करो, ये तुम्हें बता देगी कि प्रॉब्लम क्या है, ठीक है, बल्कि गपशप भी कर लेती है मुझसे। यू गेट माई पॉइंट? सो दैट इज हाउ यू फॉर्म दैट ट्रस्ट एंड बिलोंगिंग, बट इसमें फिर गवर्नमेंट का रोल आ जाता है। इट इज़ नॉट समथिंग कि जो कोई एक इदारा कर सकता है, कोई एक एंटरप्रेन्योरियल कोई कर सकता है। इट इज़ समथिंग ऑफ अ कलेक्टिव एफर्ट, जहाँ पे आपके एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, आपकी प्राइवेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन और आपकी गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, दे वर्क टुगेदर, एंड हाउ डू दे वर्क टुगेदर विद अ शेयर्ड विजन that this is where we have to reach, and this is and no matter we go this way or this way, but this is the goal that we have to reach, and that is important. Alignment is very important, which I'm sorry to say अभी हम बहुत दूर हैं, अभी टाइम लगेगा।
चले, उम्मीद पे दुनिया कायम है। पाकिस्तान में डिफरेंट लैंग्वेजेस हैं, उर्दू, सिंधी। वी ऑल्सो हैव रियली ब्यूटिफुल प्लेसेस जहाँ पे ट्रैवल हमारा बाहर जाना ज़रूरी नहीं है, विद इन द कंट्री बहुत खूबसूरत जगह है। सो व्हाट डू यू थिंक, क्या पोटेंशियल है एआई का इन द टूरिज्म इंडस्ट्री ऑफ पाकिस्तान, एंड व्हाट कैन बी डन एंड हाउ कैन वी बी इनोवेटिव विद दैट?
Oh, it's amazing potential. I mean, start from anything, building simple itinerary, ठीक है। I belong to that age group जो, although I am on Insta and other things, but Facebook, we started off from Facebook, so I'm still there also, and I keep on looking at people, I'm just talking about with this realistic example कि अभी समर स्टार्ट हुए एंड एवरीबडी वाज टॉकिंग अबाउट यार वहाँ जाना है, कब जाएंगे, रास्ता क्या होगा, ये गाड़ी चली जाएगी, वहाँ पे कैसे रहेंगे, बहुत सारे हैं जितने आपको पता है, ट्रैवलर्स क्लब है, ट्रैवल डायरीज हैं, दे आस्किंग द सेम क्वेश्चन, ये गाड़ी चली जाएगी, इतने दिन जाना है, कौन से होटल है, वहाँ कोई होटल है भी सही, ठीक है ना, बारिश हो रही है तो कैसे जाएंगे, तो रास्ते में कोई प्रॉब्लम होगी तो क्या होगा, इतने दिन में चले जाएंगे, अगर कोई ये मसला वहाँ पे बच्चों का दूध मिलता है कि नहीं। नाउ दीज आर वेरी जो लोग बहुत प्रो होते हैं वो तो कहते हैं बड़े डम क्वेश्चन हैं, बट एवरीबडी वांट्स टू ट्रैवल एंड देयर इज न्यू जनरेशन एडिंग अप टू दोज ट्रैवलर्स। देयर इज नो आंसर, and who will bring on that answer? AI is the answer. This is the space for entrepreneurs, for bringing new things that hit that industry, come up with the models where आपके पास ये सब इलाकों के पूरे डायरेक्टरीज हों, आपके पास गाइडलाइंस हों, कौन सी गाड़ियाँ जाएंगी, कितने दिन की। I am a traveler who's interested in historical places, my social media knows that, my Insta algorithm knows that, even my generative AI tool knows that, because I'm already talking about that. Now, if an AI can tell me that, because I like historical places, तो वो मेरे लिए मेरे हिसाब से, ठीक है, वो एक पूरा प्लान डेवलप करता है, मुझे गाइड भी करता है, तो दैट इज़ वन थिंग। एंड देन हर इलाके में जाके उसकी अपनी एक खूबसूरती है, अपना एक कल्चर है। आई टेल यू, आप गिलगित में जाएं तो लोग शिना बोलते हैं, ठीक है, आप स्कर्दू में जाएं तो लोग बल्ती बोलते हैं, ठीक, आप हुंजा में जाएं तो लोग रुश्क बोलते हैं, ठीक है. So there are 3 different languages, but people from here who go, they think 3 languages are the same. ठीक है. And we cannot connect to their rich history, their heritage. There's such a beautiful, those big, वो जो उनके खूबसूरत castles हैं, उनके जो कले हैं, we cannot connect to that. And we need some platforms जो हमें इन सब चीज़ों से connect करें, हमें itineraries बना के दें, हमारे reservations में help करें. Look at सवात. अभी सवात का जो इशू हुआ, देयर वाज नो सिग्नल कि जी मतलब कोई निशान नहीं था, कोई किसी ने
थर्ड टाइम इट वाज हैपनिंग.
यस, और वो कह रहे हैं किसी ने बताया नहीं था. ठीक है, हाउ टू, ये सिर्फ मोबाइल पे, इफ यू हैव एन अ सिंगल प्लेटफॉर्म जहाँ पे आपको, जहाँ आपकी लोकेशन के हिसाब से ये वाले नोटिफिकेशन भी मिल जाए, बिकॉज टूरिज्म एरिया, और आजकल टूरिज्म का टाइम है, वेकेशन टाइम है, सो दोज पीपल इन दोज एरिया शुड बी गेटिंग दोज मैसेजेस, यू नो. So all
warning
this
signs,
warning signs and warning sign. What if
early
we are
warning.
using AI for all that?
Yeah, early warning systems.
Early warning systems. So the space is so much open for everything, and we are losing those cultures. We are losing those rich heritages. I'll just quote. इस बात को हम यहाँ पे कहते हैं कि I just couple of years back I went to Kalash Valley. And that was my visit over there after 15 years. 15 years back I went over there and couple of years. So it was the same. I बल्कि थोड़ा सा गंदा ज़्यादा हो गया था. There was, so waste management एक बहुत बड़ा issue था, which I saw कि ये हमारे पास अभी नहीं है. ठीक है, वो issue है. बहुत ज़्यादा टूरिस्ट एक जगह पे आए हुए थे, because they didn't know where else to go. Because we don't have any guidance, कोई ऐप नहीं है, कोई सिस्टम नहीं है, कोई प्लेटफॉर्म नहीं है जो हमें बताए कि at this time इस जगह पे रश बहुत है, but according to what you need, these are other options that are available that you. And secondly, अगर मैं history की बात करूँ, so I had some foreign friends with me and we visited the museum of Kalash, Mamburet Valley. And they wanted to know about that beautiful, the carvings over there and, all those idols and everything. But the local guides, they were telling them stories which were not real. They were just commercial stories, know. And those tourists who were with me, the guests, they were very learned people. And they were not happy. They wanted to know the actual history of Kalasha people, and which was not presented to them in that way. So that means, with time we will lose that history in form of this commercialism selling, this upselling. So to conserve all that, to conserve the culture, to save the culture, the heritage, the stories of those areas, we need to build some platforms where, with the native languages. And it will help, it will help conserve at so many levels that we don't even understand. It should be a generational thing.
And it will attract tourists from abroad. It will make it easy for everybody to access it and actually visit.
And understand them.
Yeah.
I mean, and then besides that, even if we talk about VR, I mean, I have seen this whole area, the whole Punjab, the whole northern areas and everywhere, I really love quite much of a Sindh also, but I haven't seen Mohenjo-daro. And I really want. And, every time I want to go there, I just feel that, even if I don't go there, maybe I can have some VR thing, for some places. Maybe I can go to, some places virtually where I can't be physically. So this is a kind of tourism, virtual tourism that we can definitely promote.
Tell me about that. Do you think, okay, so I'll give you a little personal story. I was in Egypt and I was in the Red Sea, and I'm claustrophobic, by the way. I don't take lifts, I'm scared of swimming, I'm scared of all of that. But I was like, nahin, ab bahut badi ho gayi hu, I have to do this. So I wore the whole equipment for scuba diving and did all of that. I jumped into the sea and I screamed to them, ki wallahi, take me out. So it was like a 1 hour drama. Do you think if I do scuba diving through virtual reality, it will be exactly the same experience or not?
This is a beautiful topic which you have just brought. A friend of mine is working on game-based learning, and it's almost every day that we talk about it. I'm obsessed with AI, he is obsessed with game-based learning. And this is what he is talking about always, that simulation and game-based learning, and how does that take out that fear out of you, because he is using it in flying, So that fear definitely goes. It is like a way of, facing your fears, because then you can stop yourself somewhere. If you are feeling claustrophobic, then you can stop and you can try again. You can try again, and eventually you get over it. And that is how human psychology works. When you know you are in control, you can get over your fear. But when you are directly physically doing it, you are not in control. Anything can go bad, and things can go apocalyptic. So it depends. It's a beautiful way of learning. It is beautiful. It is such a your cognitive skills. They are building. Human mind is amazing. It works in a very, very mysterious ways, and it is just that how we make that learning more engaging and more accessible to how we perceive things. It's all about perception. And if we are talking about that virtual reality thing, it's I think in teaching, in learning, and in enjoying our life, this is one of the opportunity that we can avail if it is available for us, obviously.
Do you think it will replace actual tourism?
Never.
कि घर बैठ के आप दुनिया देख लो.
There are options. Those people who want to play cricket.
No, but do you think it will be as like eventually in the long run, हर senses आपकी उसमें जो होंगी वो activate होंगी, sensitize हो जाएंगी through virtual reality, the same way that you would maybe feel if you actually went to maybe
Wouldn't it be fun? The world won't be like then having problem of carbon emissions.
That's what I was going to say. Carbon footprint would be less.
Come on, less carbon emissions, less carbon footprint. But this is again the human mind. We do not just stay in one point. If we are confined to one way, that okay, you are only supposed to go physically and not virtually, we won't like it. If we are told that only virtual or not physical, then we long for physical one. That no, we have these five senses, touch, smell, and a taste, and I want to go and touch the earth and the water and everything. So our human brains are built to find that balance eventually.
Fair enough.
And we will reach to that point. That is human history. Look at the human history. We eventually find balance after chaos.
Yes, that is true. Yes. COVID. अच्छा, उसमें आपने you wrote up an article on climate change and AI. Tell us about that and how you kind of related it to capitalism and how there's a difference with infrastructure being installed in developing countries and the developed countries taking the advantage of that.
Well, that's a very interesting and more concerning area for me or anybody who knows this space. That when you are building AI infrastructures, because AI doesn't work on clouds now, the data has to be saved somewhere, and data is saved in these big buildings with big computers over there, and they are called data centers. And mostly Pakistan people have now started to talk about it, that AI data centers are welcomed in Pakistan because we have allotted some electricity to them. Now, for those data centers, if you remember, when in the start we had computers in our home, or there are computer labs, you need to have an AC in the computer labs. It has to be kept a little bit cool because they emit so much heat. Now, data center means big computers in a big building, lots of them. That means lots of heat, and it has to be kept cold. And that is kept cold through fresh water. Not just any water, fresh water, which is drinkable also, potable water. And it circulates through that building to keep that clean. Now that is a traditional model. There are other models also, but they are expensive. We are talking about a very conventional model now. Now that is where problem lies. In areas where there is water shortage, If you are building data centers, then obviously you are taking that fresh water from the pocket and from the tanks of those people who actually are going to drink it and use it for their daily use, and you are dividing their water and giving it to the data centers. Now the fun thing is, again, don't take fun as fun, but this is something that you just find out in that space, that if you see the most of the data centers where they are built all over the world, they are built in the communities who are not very developed. For example, Pakistan is welcoming it, Uruguay has welcomed it, okay? Even if we talk about developed country, in US, Arizona has a hub. Okay, in India, Bangalore is the hub of data centers. Now, these are the communities which are facing water shortages. They are dependent on water tankers. They are fighting for these water issues all over, everywhere. If you look at the consumption and the issues with the local community where data centers are located, and then look at who is using those AI features. The data center is here, the community is fighting for the resources. Meanwhile, the AI model that this data center is running is being used by somewhere in a very developed country, in US, in UK, in Europe, or somebody who is rich can pay for the paid model, or the big companies, you know. So this is a kind of a colonialism. It's a temporal injustice, that the economically strong people, the economically strong countries, the economically strong companies are feeding on the resources of the communities who are fighting for their basic rights of fresh water. And it's not only about fresh water. AI data centers, they have carbon emissions. They also extract minerals out of it. Okay, so it has much of a
it's literally colonialism in that
way. So it is a kind of a colonialism. Other than the AI capitalism that we are saying that, some people can use it and some cannot, just like COVID vaccine, somebody got it and somebody didn't. But other than that, if you talk about the infrastructure, then one community who is hosting the data center is suffering because of it. But meanwhile, the other countries or other communities are getting more economically strong because of that.
Then why is Pakistan and other countries offering to host the infrastructure?
It's a shortcut. And I am not saying that Pakistan has done something out of ordinary, or something that nobody else has done. People have done it. Most of third world countries and more of the developing countries, they see it as quick economic empowerment, foreign investment. It comes with a foreign. They don't go through that whole cycle, that it's not just about the infrastructure and the digital transformation and the electricity. It is about the water also. It's about carbon emission also. It is about resource division also. So they don't go
for. Imagine the headlines. Oh, kitne paise aa gaye Pakistan ke andar.
Yes, and everybody has done it, and. But obviously some people had to back out. In Uruguay, Google was building this big data center, and when they had this seasonal drought for almost 3 years because of the La Nina, and although it's not a water shortage country, and they then people found out that the Google data center is going to use their water. So they protested, and the government had to push Google to change their data center model. So they had to go for other options rather than water cooling system. They had to use the other option, but they're expensive. Yeah. And obviously, the big companies and big tech is looking for the places where nobody has strict policies, and they just come and build the most convenient infrastructure, so it keeps less costly, and nobody is there to disturb them. But what about the community? What is our priority? Is the community priority? Are people priority? Or the future? If the future is priority, but future will not exist without people.
Or the planet, or the resources. But very interesting concept and very interesting parallels to on. Acha, when we talk about AI and how accessible it is for certain people and how easy it is to use, how do you think girls and women and females, especially in Pakistan, can take advantage of it?
Oh, they can. I mean, where I come from, most of the girls will relate with me. I come from that background where we have cousin marriages. The girls do not study. The first girl to do graduation in the family. And then later on studying for. We always think that we don't have a way out. The girls especially, they think that okay, the culture, the society, the family, parents, brothers, or husbands or in-laws or whatever, we don't have a way out. And when I grew up, yes, finding a way out was very difficult at that time. But now when you have AI, it is so easy. Whether you like it or not, you have access to the cell phone, okay, and AI is there. You can use it to self-teach yourself. Learn about things. You can learn about how to train the models even. You can learn about how to use AI to make up new recipes, to make DIY projects, to come up with new business ideas. You can do content writing at home. You can self-study many things, And this is something that will elevate. Education always elevates you. It's a kind of freedom. And freedom does not exist physically. Freedom always exists mentally. And I have learned this in my life, that whether I was free physically, but I wasn't free mentally. So to be mentally free, you need to understand that whatever is available to you, how you can make most of it. And especially for the girls, they need to understand that things won't go the way you want them to. You cannot compare yourself to other girls in the TV or in the newspaper or in the podcast. Do not compare. It is about you. You have your own circumstances, and find out if you have maybe not 300 but 3 things available, and you don't think that they're important, but yes, they are important. Find their importance and find a way out of it.
Create an importance.
Create an importance, It is all about how you see things. Find your mental freedom and you'll be free of it. And eventually it takes patience, commitment, resilience, and mental freedom.
Very well said. I'll lead to the last question. Achha, so when we talk about girls and women and generally the entire population, most of the people using AI, I would want to ask you about the safety with AI and how, when we talk about data, बहुत ज़्यादा इस तरह की बातचीत हो रही है कि oh, don't share your health information with them, or people are using it as therapists, like when we talk about ChatGPT, or as friends. So मैंने तो अपनी ECG की रिपोर्ट्स भी दिखाई थी उसको इंटरप्रेट करने के लिए. सो अब मैं तो डर गई थी कि अब पता नहीं क्या होने वाला है. बट जोक्स असाइड, वैसे तो AI the data is everywhere. Like you don't own your own data anyway. That's what I personally believe. Social media and phone, ads आ जाते हैं फौरन ही. बेशक दूसरे कमरे में कुछ हुआ, आपने, I know this sounds crazy, but I think and it shows up. It genuinely does. I've been observing that for the past 7-8 years, not even just now. So इस हवाले से what would you say? How much information do you think we should share with ChatGPT or other AI models?
The AI models are working on sentiment analysis, and eventually they are moving to the predictive analysis. They analyze our sentiments, out of what we say about what are our future features, or how we are acting this time, because it's listening through our cell phones and everything. And remember that this is how it works. So it does sentiment analysis, and then it does predictive analysis to show you whatever. It just molds the algorithm according to whatever it wants to show you. As women, first, I'll share one study with you. A few days ago, I read this research from some international university that women are, although they are confident to use AI, but they are the ones who accept that they need to learn AI more. And men, they are also the same way, confident or less confident, but they don't accept that they need to learn. Oh. So that's why when somebody asks that, what about AI, are you confident? The women say, yes, we are, but I think we would like to learn more or get trained. But men do not accept it. So women think in a different way. But when we are talking about data, we don't have very active GDPR. We don't have data protection rules or anything, and we don't go by it, and we don't even understand it. But when you are uploading your pictures crazily for Ghibli art style pictures, or just downloading any app and putting up there like make me this year younger or everything, you are compromising your own pictures. And right now the issue is that because of the lack of the policy and regulation in most parts of the world, and especially in the country, anybody can pick up those pictures from that data and they can use it. And how now the images are getting very realistic, even the videos and everything. So you need to be on the safe side. Make sure, I'm going to very, very basic level. And the basic level is that when you are using your Gemini, ChatGPT or any such kind of generative tool, go on its settings, and there is an option of security and privacy where you can turn it off, where your data is not shared to train that model. You can turn that option off. Yes, for that. Now that actually hinders some of the things, because your data, then you don't get many things out of that context, but it's fine if you meanwhile at least for that. And you can always like choose certain options for the managing memories and everything, but I'm talking about very basic things. It's not very much enough, but at least it's a start. And please avoid your sharing your pictures everywhere. I don't know why people were, I was very much concerned when this Ghibli art thing started, and I remember there were two actors completely from different, Pakistani film and Pakistani TV actor and actress, and somebody had put up their picture that if they both were married, then this would be their kid. Now both of them were standing there and with their kid in the front. And I wasn't thinking about that. But I was thinking about, look at this girl and look at this boy. This boy has his family, maybe his wife or a kid. And this girl has her parents and maybe a fiancé or whatever. Okay, what would they be thinking right now? That somebody just thought, okay, no, this random guy and this random girl, we have to put them together as a couple, and then they have a child also. Look at the ethical side of it. It's not funny at all. It's not funny. So girls, in Pakistan especially, looking at our cultural context, we need to be very much aware of all this, that we do not send out our pictures like that. But meanwhile, we need to educate our majority of population also that this is possible, this may happen, and please don't play emotional because of this कि जी हमारी कोई इज्जत पे हर्फ आ गया या कुछ आ गया. This is reality and we all have to accept it now, and we have to change now.
Very interesting, very dark as well. But it has been a pleasure having you on this show. I got to learn quite a few things. और टूरिज़म के हवाले से भी आई थिंक आवर ऑडियंस गॉट टू नो कि क्या क्या हम कर सकते हैं, वर्चुअल रियलिटी से हम क्या कर सकते हैं. और आई विश यू ऑल द बेस्ट फॉर योर PhD. इंशाल्लाह वो कंप्लीट होएगा, एंड होपफुली यू विल बी बैक हियर अगेन एज डॉक्टर इरम खान.
Looking forward to that.
Inshallah. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you liked it. Please subscribe to our channel, and we'll be back with another episode for you to watch. Thank you.